Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of F1 23 Driver Career Mode. Hope you're all having a great day. Today we're headed to Monaco, where we unfortunately had a couple of development errors, but we also had some successful ones on the way. We've got a lot of upgrades on the way. A rear wing upper flap upgrade came in through to be successful here coming into this Monaco Grand Prix weekend. You can see overall we had 3 parts fail, 2 were successful. So some work to do there in the R&D. We have seemed to be kind of having our moments of a lot of failures versus successes. Although you can see we're at the bottom of the R&D, look how close we are to McLaren, who's 5th on the board. So in reality, although now it's, still the worst car on the grid, technically, we are still a car capable, I think now at this point, going into Monaco, being a legitimate threat for points, depending on the circuit here. As you see the area landing in the Monaco area, ready to get some, seat time here in Monaco. And when we came here in Formula 2 last season, if you watched the prologue, we had a heck of a scrap with Logan Sargent here for the race victory. And we made a bump and run, NASCAR-style move on Sargent in the, penultimate corner it was, but we were told to immediately give it back to avoid a penalty. And we ended up 2nd place to Sargent in that race now. But here we are getting some seat time here under our belt in Monaco. And immediately there was 2 things that I was noticing here with Monaco. First of all, my front tires were overheating quite easily, but the major thing that I noticed was how much better and how much more fun Monaco is to drive in F1 23. This is the most fun, after recording this whole video, this is the most fun I've had at Monaco in years in an F1 game. Codemasters can stick with this handling model for, as long as possible, I'd be so happy, because this game really does drive fantastically. Although not a lot of things changed with F1 23, the game really is a massive step up in terms of the actual main aspect of the game to me, which is driving, because it's a racing game. So we're focusing in though on qualifying Saturday afternoon here. And now we talked about the R&D situation, but is this going to be a track that really suits our AlphaTauri? Although, like I said, we might be worse on the grid, but we're so close to McLaren. We've made a big step up here lately that I think we can be a threat for points depending on the circuit. I'm not sure though if this is going to be the exact circuit to really suit our needs and advantages of this car here with AlphaTauri, but you can see myself getting my first lap here in Q1. I was pretty happy at first with this lap here. Now, as you can see myself coming through the final turn, getting that rear wing open and headed down this run straightaway. So I was happy with lap 1, but I would realize pretty quickly there was some work to do. We were ahead of Zhou Guanyu and Alex Albon. We set a 2nd lap immediately, went nearly 4/10ths better, beat Lando Norris. We were up to P6, but it didn't take long to fall down to P13. My teammate of YUKI a terrible lap, dead last. I knew he had more pace in the car, and I knew others did as well. So a new set of tires go on here, and we get back underway here. And as we came through the first sector, we had only found about 1/10 of a second, so which wasn't a huge improvement. And you can see coming through towards the end of the lap, I had actually lost time compared to what I gained, and then we do gain it back a little bit more here in this final sector, going a little bit deep there into the penultimate turn, so I give it more time again. Through the final turn though, about 2/10ths of a second gain overall. We go P10, and is that going to be enough? Unfortunately, you're going to see I would slow the car down and didn't have anything more in it, but watch the left side. We're going down the order, and there it is right there to P16. We are out still in Q1, as YUKI Tsunoda is going to out-qualify us here in Monaco. Now, only about 1/10.5 of a second between myself and YUKI, so it's not a huge difference, but it's a frustrating difference here as we're going to get ready to go racing in Monaco here for the Monaco Grand Prix.
Formula 1 returns to Monte Carlo once again today, home to the world-famous Monte Carlo Casino that first opened in 1863. And of course, a certain road race first held in 1929. There's no greater an occasion, no more valuable a win than the Monaco Grand Prix. The prestigious Circuit de Monaco, then, is not all that dissimilar today to the layout that made its debut almost a century ago. It's 2 miles and 19 corners through the streets of Monte Carlo. And although the average lap speed of around 93 miles per hour is the lowest of the season, the tiny margins for error make it the natural habitat of the safety car. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And starting next to them is George Russell. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Hamilton, Leclerc, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Bottas, Ocon, Stroll, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Golden Boy, Joe, Magnussen, Sargent, and Alex Albon picks up the last spot on the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track. Anthony Davidson, thanks for joining me once again for the Grand Prix. Let's talk about Golden Boy. What do you make of their performance so far this season?
Well, the atmosphere within that team seems very positive at the moment. Everyone seems like they're in great spirits and having a lot of fun doing what they do, and that's definitely contributed to the performances we've seen.
I think we all know here how this Grand Prix is going to go. There's not going to be a lot of passing, so we might have a couple of moments where the Crofty and Brundle and AI and them come in here to kind of liven up this episode. Now, looking at strategy, there's two strategy options. You see the difference here. Verstappen on hards, Russell joining him on the front row on mediums. We are on hards, so we'll be going to mediums. The guys starting on mediums will be going to hards. Pretty straightforward as we're going to get ready to go racing. Let's start the formation lap here in Monaco.
As the formation lap gets underway, the cars will begin their journey climbing high through the town before dicing down to the harbour side of Monaco. Arguably the most iconic venue on the race calendar due to its setting and, of course, the annual dose of glamour and drama. So as all the cars take their positions on the grid, the teams will be hoping their strategies pay off for them in today's race. The question I'm asking is which teams have got it right, which ones have got it horribly wrong?
Alright boys, not the qualifying effort we were looking for. I know it's going to be a difficult day here. Passing is so hard, but I'm going to give it everything I have.
No heroics into turn one, then get after it.
Well, there you hear, Mark. I was going to run a special livery for this race with a mod, but I was having trouble getting it to work, so we don't have it. I was going to do, the McLaren-style special livery for Monaco. However, when modular mods come into F123, it is going to be a game changer, and it's going to be so exciting to see what we can do with mods here throughout this series. I have some awesome storylines planned, and I can't wait for you guys to see it now as we are getting ready to go racing, starting directly behind our teammate of YUKI Tsunoda, qualified P14. He did. We're P16. It's going to be lights out. Keep an eye on George Russell. He's on the mediums versus Verstappen, who got pole on the hards. Russell has more grip. He's even into turn one. Around the outside he goes. George Russell to the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix in turn one, lap one. One thing I didn't think of as we get this Grand Prix underway, everyone's already settled out single file, is just the tire wear in F123, and the tire strategy is so different in this game than it has been in any year of F1 gaming that I've ever played, to be completely honest. It's very diverse, which is awesome, but I didn't think about that coming into this Grand Prix and how big of a difference that is going to make for Monaco, because, we know what we've seen so far in the first handful of Grand Prix to start our Formula 1 career in F123 driver career mode is that pitting earlier is often a better strategy because you gain such an advantage. The undercut is extremely overpowered in this game so far with the current tire model, and I don't know if it's because the cars are still low on the upgrades and whatnot. What a beautiful view. Look at this camera angle of the Monaco area. Absolutely gorgeous now as we continue on. A nice sunny day here, a few clouds in the skies, but no threats of rain. I'm back on that strategy though. I think drivers that started on the hards are going to be at a disadvantage here today, and like I said, I didn't think of that originally, but I was thinking about that now because the guys that are on mediums are going to pit so much earlier than us, probably only 3 to 4 or 5 laps earlier, but they will have all that time on those hards to build up a heck of a gap, so I think it's going to be hard. Here's a restart, or a replay of my start here. So it was a pretty good start for myself here now. I got right to the back of my teammate YUKI Tsunoda. Gasly as usual with a really slow start. Tsunoda, he went to the inside, but I decided to play a nice team roll here and didn't make it too difficult on him, and then actually slapped the barrier on the exit of turn one. Fortunately, no damage on the car here. Now back to the live aspect here. Lap 3 of 39. A lot of laps here in Monaco, of course, but I was pretty happy with how the car was feeling, and you can see myself just lurking right here behind my teammate of YUKI Tsunoda, just not putting a whole lot of pressure on at the moment here now, just trying to feel it out, and of course Monaco trying to not be stupid and make sure I get this car to the end of the race is a big aspect for me in Monaco as well, but this track is so much better and smoother and easier to drive in this game. And now lap 7, I felt like I was a lot faster than YUKI Tsunoda, so I make sure I let them know on the radio. Yuki's losing time to Oscar. I swear I'm faster than him if he can just let me by.
I will forward the message.
Mark would forward the message, but here is the response I would get from YUKI Tsunoda over his radio.
What is this one?
Copy, charge on, charge on.
long story short, we're gonna have to pass him the hard way. So we're gonna focus in on YUKI. I had more pace, and I was not afraid to show it and get the elbows out against my teammate as well. We're trying to show that we are here to fight against Yuki Tsunoda and become the face of AlphaTauri here in this first season as a Formula 1 rookie. Not a good exit for Tsunoda, so that actually makes it easy to get alongside here, taking advantage. I didn't expect it right here, but here we go. Lunging into turn 1 side by side. Although YUKI didn't want to give it up, he does give me the space that I am, respectful of and deserve. So we move up into P13 over Tsunoda, but you can see that Piastri 2.4 seconds ahead, so there is some obvious time to be made up there, but we get that job done, and now we can focus in here now as we focus back in on the leaders. George Russell still out in front here over Max Verstappen, who's on those medium tires, but yeah, I mean, Verstappen's on the hards, Russell's on the mediums, but will those hards start to kick in later in the run, you have to wonder, and then of course, can Verstappen find a way in the pit stop cycle to get back past George Russell, because I don't think if Max can pass him through the pit cycle, he's not going to pass him straight up. So there you see Hamilton a little bit sideways right there, actually going after it there in P4, the recent winner from Miami, and Mercedes trying to get their second win of the season, but of course with George Russell for the second time in his career this would be. Looking, at the timing, we come through to lap 17, and you can see that the gap's still not really closing much. I was pulling away from YUKI, and the cars behind. Charles Leclerc is going to kick off the pit stop strategy with Ferrari, so in he comes lap 18, sets of hards on that Ferrari. Right behind him, Lando Norris is going to come in for the same thing, and it wasn't long till Leclerc, I stay out, of course, a little bit longer. He would breeze past me here about a lap later after he had come into the pits. Hamilton there stays out in front of him, but pit stops are really kicking off now. Here comes George Russell. Max Verstappen is going to pit the same lap, so Russell trying to cover Verstappen off is going to, come in the same lap, even though Verstappen, of course, is trying to undercut. It's not going to work now. Perez comes in here a few moments later to put on a set of mediums, but Russell, Verstappen are going to remain 1-2. Perez is going to be down to at least third. I'm going to say probably fifth place actually here by the time this all goes through, and there goes Hamilton Leclerc through. So yeah, he's going to be down a little ways now, as you can see myself getting ready to pit here. I have Fernando Alonso hot up my gearbox now, as I thought he was going to be up my inside and now to stay out an extra lap, but fortunately we were able to get there into the pit. So now you can see Esteban Ocon leaving his pit box in that Alpine here, as we're going to come in for a fresh set of mediums. The question is, staying out all those extra laps, are we really going to be able to make up any time and make a difference here with these mediums? I think obviously Monaco, a track where strategy isn't going to really make a huge deal in terms of the tire strategy that we're on, and it is proving here we aren't really set to gain anything. So a little bit frustrating here now as we come through. Look at this, Yuki Tsunoda, by staying out a few extra laps, he falls way behind. He's going to drop down to what looks like 18th, 19th place there, as I get a warning for exceeding track limits here now, but we continue on, as you can see, through to lap 23, going green in the sectors now. Magnussen, Hulkenberg behind, but my teammate Tsunoda was down to 19th place after staying out all those extra laps. Very unfortunate there, as we would continue on. Trying to close in on Ocon there. We're running P13, 3.3 seconds behind, as yellow flags now, as we head into the pool section there. In the background, you can see it's actually Pierre Gasly, the Alpine, that's going to be out of the Grand Prix here in Monaco with a mechanical failure. No safety car, no mechanical failures for us, hopefully today on the way, as we are now going to go through the grid as we approach 10 laps to go with George Russell out in front.
George Russell looking stellar out there today, as he has just 10 laps to go until he becomes a Monaco GP winner.
How about Verstappen? Although he struggled on the start, he's had a nice rebound today after a terrible few races recently.
Perez, however, having a bit of a rough day out there. Not what the championship leader wants, but it's so hard to pass here in Monaco. He just has to wait and see what happens here.
How about McLaren, guys? A great day again for them. They have made big gains since the start of the year. Piastri again seems to be coming into his own as a rookie.
He's looking great again today. Some interesting bits from earlier this weekend with another rookie of Owen. Let's take a listen from his chat with Natalie.
So Garrett, AP17, do you think if you didn't have the penalty, would the outcome would have been different?
Of course, I would have finished like 4 spots better.
There's been some talk about Aston Martin paying attention to you. Any comment?
That's news to me. Well, there you have it as well. You heard our chat with Natalie Pinkham earlier in the weekend now. Not a lot to talk about when it comes to Monaco, but Aston Martin paying a bit of attention to us here now. It is no secret that Lance Stroll has been fumbling the ball, you could say, all season long compared to his teammate Fernando Alonso, and it's no different again today. Alonso currently P6, while Alonso destroys Stroll, who's in P11. So, yeah, it's just one of those days now. As you can see myself, look at the gap. Now, we have closed right up to the back of Ocon. We closed in 3 seconds late in this run, looking for an opportunity to go for the overtake, knowing it's going to be difficult here, of course, but look at the run we get out of the final corner, similar to Tsunoda earlier when we pass him. We're going to go for a move into turn 1. Ocon shuts the door, says, absolutely no, sir, you're not doing that now. So having to wait and just be patient for another opportunity here as we come through into these closing 3 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix now as we head down into the final turn. Esteban Ocon right there in front of us on our front wing. He has no DRS this time. It's going to open the door for myself to slip up the inside, side by side as we head down towards turn 1, braking maybe too deep into the first turn, and we've crashed into turn 1. Huge fumble there, and I was talking about Lance Stroll fumbling the ball, and then I just went and did that. Yeah, that was embarrassing. So what happened was I braked way too deep, way too late into turn 1, and locked up the brakes. The rear brakes I locked up. So when the rear brakes lock, the back end just kicks out on you, and unfortunately you saw the outcome. I was into the barrier and out of the race. So yeah, that was a mistake I didn't want to make, but it is what it is. I guess that's going to be, you know, 2 rough finishes in a row. The penalty in Imola from speeding and now myself crashing. So this will be our first DNF of our F1 23 driver career mode. George Russell wins Monaco over Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton on the podium as well. So great to see both Mercedes drivers up there on the podium. They are going to bring that fight to Red Bull, of course, now. But yeah, I mean, just disappointing and embarrassing. You know, I ran probably my best Grand Prix at Monaco in a long time since, I don't know, like F1 like 2016, 2017, I feel like, and it's just sucks that it ended like that, and it was my own error. You know, the last 2 Grand Prix have gotten rough finishes because of my own errors. We are a rookie in Formula 1, you know, errors are going to happen, mistakes are going to happen. It is what it is, but yeah, not what you want to do, not what you want to have happen here, especially into turn 1 in Monaco. Thankfully, we didn't take Ocon with us, so there was no damage done and doubt to that Alpine. But yeah, now we just gotta focus forward. You know, that's all we can do. We have the Spanish Grand Prix coming up in the next episode. A brand new layout in Spain, of course, with the last couple corners just being that long sweeping right-hander, now the double right-hander. But yeah, we end up P19. Tsunoda ends up P16 there. He actually, it looks like he got past Alex Albon. As we look at the points there, obviously no points for us or Tsunoda, but you can see that Oscar Piastri picks up another point there, getting in the points today, only like P10. 4 drivers with no points this season. Red Bull at the top of the board, 47 ahead of Ferrari, 61 ahead of Mercedes. And that's going to wrap it up for us on a disappointing end here in Monaco. In the next one, we head to Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix, home Grand Prix for both Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso. I'll see you guys then. Have a great day, everybody.